What if the life you keep chasing is not the life you actually need? You tell yourself that one day, when you make more money, find the right person, become successful, or finally earn the respect you deserve, you will finally be happy. So you keep running. You work harder. You compare yourself to people who seem to have more. You keep telling yourself, just a little more, and then I'll finally be satisfied. But what if the problem was never your life? What if it was the person you were bringing into it? Because you can change your job, your house, your relationships, even your entire environment. But if you remain anxious, insecure, impatient, and dependent on the approval of others, you will carry the same suffering into every new chapter. The Stoics understood something most people learn far too late. A better life begins with becoming a better human being. Hello everyone, welcome to the Mind Awakening channel. In this video, we are going to explore why constantly chasing success, happiness, recognition, and a better future can leave you feeling more empty than ever. We will uncover the Stoic principles that teach you how to stop running from your current life and start building yourself from within. Now, let's get started. Part 1. You don't need a better life. You need a stronger self. There is a quiet kind of exhaustion that many people carry every day. It comes from constantly believing that your life should be different. You wake up thinking about what you don't have. A better job, more money, a better relationship, a bigger house, more recognition, more success. And somewhere in your mind, there is always a promise. Once I have those things, then I will finally be happy. So you keep moving. You keep working, you keep chasing, but somehow the finish line keeps moving further away. You achieve something you once desperately wanted, and for a few days, maybe even a few weeks, you feel satisfied. Then the excitement fades, and suddenly you need something else, something bigger, something better, something that will finally make you feel complete. This is one of the cruelest traps of modern life. We are taught to improve our circumstances before we learn how to improve ourselves. We are told to chase success, but rarely taught how to remain peaceful after achieving it. We learn how to make money, but not how to control our desires. We learn how to gain attention, but not how to be comfortable without it. The Stoics saw this problem thousands of years ago. They understood that external possessions could never permanently satisfy an undisciplined mind, because if your happiness depends on circumstances, then your happiness will always be fragile. Someone can take your position, someone can reject you, the market can collapse, a relationship can end, plans can fail, and suddenly the life you thought would make you happy becomes the source of your suffering. But a stronger person approaches life differently. They don't ask, how can I make everything around me perfect? They ask, how can I become strong enough to remain grounded no matter what happens around me? That is the beginning of real transformation. Because when you become disciplined, you need less. When you become emotionally stable, you fear less. When you become grateful, you stop constantly comparing. And when you become comfortable with yourself, you stop begging the world to prove that you are enough. A better life may certainly be worth pursuing, but first, become the kind of person who can live that life without losing himself. Part 2. Stop measuring your life against someone else's. One of the fastest ways to become unhappy is to constantly measure your life against someone else's. You look at their success, their relationship, their lifestyle, their house, their appearance, their confidence, and without realizing it, you begin to believe that your own life is somehow falling behind. You see the final chapter of someone else's story while living inside the unfinished chapter of your own. And that comparison quietly poisons your peace. Because no matter how much you accomplish, there will always be someone with more. More money, more followers, more recognition, more opportunities, more beauty, more success. If you make your happiness dependent on being ahead of other people, you have created a game you can never win. The Stoics understood this. They did not teach people to become better than everyone else. They taught them to become better than the person they were yesterday. That difference is enormous, because the moment you stop asking, "Why don't I have what they have?" and start asking, "Am I becoming the person I want to be?" your entire perspective changes. You stop competing with strangers. You stop feeling threatened by someone else's success. You can admire another person's achievements without using them as evidence that you are failing. And perhaps most importantly, you begin to appreciate the life that is already in your hands. Think about how much of your present life you once prayed for. There was a time when you wanted the freedom you have today, the knowledge you now possess, the people who are still beside you, the opportunities that once seemed impossible. But because you are always looking at what comes next, you rarely stop long enough to appreciate what has already arrived. This doesn't mean you should stop growing. It means you should stop believing that growth requires hatred of your current self. You can want more without believing you are worthless without it. You can pursue success without becoming enslaved to it. You can build a better future while still being grateful for today. The Stoic path is not about lowering your ambitions. It is about freeing your ambitions from desperation. Because there is a powerful difference between saying, "I want to become better," and saying, "I must become better because who I am right now is not enough." The first creates growth. The second creates suffering. So stop measuring your life against someone else's timeline. Your journey was never supposed to look like theirs. Your only real competition is the person you become when no one is watching. And if you can become a little wiser, calmer, stronger, and more disciplined than you were yesterday, you are already moving in the right direction. Before we continue, I want to ask you something simple. Are you truly unhappy with your life? Or are you simply comparing it to someone else's? Take a moment and think about it. Then share your answer in the comments below. Your perspective might help someone else who is struggling with the same feeling. And if this message speaks to you, consider subscribing to the channel. Your support gives us the motivation to keep creating deeper content about stoicism, self-mastery, inner strength, and becoming a better version of yourself. Now, let's continue. Because the next lesson may reveal why having more will never be enough if you haven't learned how to master yourself. Part 3. You cannot escape yourself. There is something most people don't want to admit. Sometimes, the life you are trying so desperately to escape is not actually the problem. You are. Not because you are broken, not because you are incapable, but because you keep expecting external changes to solve internal wounds. You think a new relationship will make you feel loved, a better career will make you feel valuable, more money will make you feel secure, more success will finally silence the voice inside your head telling you that you are not enough. So you change your surroundings, you move, you start over, you meet new people, you chase new goals, and for a while, everything feels different. But eventually, the old anxiety returns, the same insecurity, the same fear, the same need for validation, and you begin to wonder why nothing ever seems to be enough. The answer is uncomfortable. You changed the scenery, but you brought the same mind with you. The Stoics understood that changing external circumstances is often easier than changing ourselves. Anyone can run away. Anyone can quit. Anyone can blame the world, but it takes real courage to sit quietly and ask, what inside me keeps creating the same suffering? Maybe you react too quickly. Maybe you need everyone to approve of you. Maybe you are addicted to being needed. Maybe you constantly seek distractions because silence forces you to confront feelings you've been avoiding for years. These things are difficult to face, but they are exactly where your transformation begins. Because once you stop blaming everything outside yourself, you regain something incredibly powerful: responsibility. Not blame, responsibility. You cannot control what happened to you. You cannot control how someone treated you. You cannot rewrite your past. But you can decide what those experiences will turn you into. Pain can make you bitter, or it can make you wiser. Rejection can destroy your confidence, or it can teach you to stop seeking your worth from people who cannot see it. Failure can convince you that you are incapable, or it can teach you discipline, patience, and humility. The event is outside your control. The meaning you give it is not. That is why becoming a better person must come before building a better life. Because if you don't develop the inner strength to handle success, success will control you. If you don't develop emotional discipline, relationships will control you. If you don't develop self-respect, attention will control you. And if you don't learn how to be at peace with yourself, you will spend your entire life searching for somewhere else to finally feel whole. You don't need to escape yourself. You need to understand yourself, then discipline yourself, then slowly become someone you can respect when you are alone with your own thoughts. Part 4. Become better in the moments no one sees. Becoming a better person rarely happens in one dramatic moment. It happens quietly. In the morning when you don't feel like getting out of bed, but you do. When you're angry, but choose not to say something you'll regret. When you could lie, but choose the truth. When nobody would know if you gave up, but you keep going anyway. These moments seem insignificant, but they are not. They are shaping you. Every choice is a vote for the person you are becoming. The Stoics understood that character is not built through words. It is built through repeated action. You can read hundreds of books about discipline. You can listen to thousands of motivational speeches. You can talk endlessly about becoming stronger. But none of that matters if your behavior remains unchanged, because your character is revealed in the moments when there is no audience, when nobody is watching, when there is no reward, when there is no applause. That is where you discover who you really are. Maybe you want a better life. Then start by becoming more disciplined with the life you already have. Keep the promises you make to yourself. Wake up when you said you would. Finish what you started. Control what you consume. Be careful with your words. Learn to say no. Spend less time complaining about what you cannot change. Spend more time improving what you can. These things don't look impressive from the outside, but they create something far more valuable than appearance. They create self-respect. And self-respect is different from confidence. Confidence says, I believe I can do this. Self-respect says, I trust myself because I have repeatedly done what I said I would do. That trust is built slowly, one difficult decision at a time, one uncomfortable morning, one honest conversation, one temptation resisted, one unnecessary argument avoided, one day where you choose discipline instead of comfort. And eventually, something changes. You no longer need to constantly motivate yourself. You become the kind of person who does what needs to be done whether you feel like it or not. That is real freedom. Because when your actions are no longer controlled by your moods, your life becomes much harder to control from the outside. You don't become perfect. You simply become dependable to yourself. And perhaps that is what a better life truly begins with. Not a bigger house, not more money, not more attention, but waking up each morning and knowing that the person looking back at you in the mirror is someone you are slowly becoming proud of. Part 5. Build the life that your character deserves. At some point, you have to stop asking, when will my life finally get better? And start asking a much harder question. When will I become better? Because your circumstances may change. Your income may increase. You may find the relationship you always wanted. You may move to a better place. You may finally achieve the goal you've been chasing for years. But none of those things guarantee peace. If you remain the same person inside, you will eventually find a new reason to be unhappy. That is why the Stoics placed so much importance on character. They understood that possessions can disappear, Status can disappear, beauty can fade, people can leave, fortune can change overnight. But the person you have trained yourself to become, that is something much harder to take away. So don't spend your entire life waiting for the perfect circumstances. Build yourself now. Become someone who can remain calm when life becomes uncertain. Become someone who can lose without becoming bitter, someone who can succeed without becoming arrogant, someone who can love without becoming dependent, someone who can walk away without hatred, someone who can receive criticism without allowing it to destroy his identity, someone who can experience failure without believing that failure defines him. That is what it means to become a better human being. And strangely, when you begin doing this, something unexpected happens. You stop needing life to be perfect. You start appreciating ordinary moments. A quiet morning, a meaningful conversation, a healthy body, a few people you can trust, the ability to wake up and try again. You realize that happiness was never supposed to come from constantly upgrading your circumstances. It comes from developing the capacity to appreciate, endure, adapt, and remain grounded within them. So pursue your goals, make more money, build something meaningful, fall in love, improve your circumstances. There is nothing wrong with wanting more. Just don't make the mistake of believing that more will make you whole. Become better first. Become wiser. Become more disciplined. Become more patient. Become someone whose peace doesn't depend on whether the world gives you what you want. Because when you become that person, you stop chasing life desperately. You start living it intentionally. And perhaps that is the greatest Stoic lesson of all. Don't spend your entire life trying to build a life that looks good from the outside. Spend your life becoming someone who feels at peace on the inside. Because when the person becomes better, the life eventually has no choice but to become better with him. Conclusion. Maybe you don't need a better life. Maybe you need to become a better person capable of appreciating, protecting, and handling the life you already have. The Stoics understood that we cannot control everything that happens around us, but we can control who we become because of it. So stop waiting for the perfect circumstances to begin changing. Start today. Keep one promise to yourself. Control one reaction. Give up one unnecessary comparison. Do one difficult thing you have been avoiding. And before you sleep tonight, ask yourself, did I become a little wiser, calmer, or stronger today? That is how real transformation begins. Not through one extraordinary decision, but through ordinary choices repeated every day. If this video gave you a new perspective, please subscribe to the channel. Your support gives us the motivation to keep creating meaningful content about Stoicism, self-mastery, and becoming stronger from within. Thank you for taking the time to watch until the end of the video. See you in the next videos.